Hi, and welcome to Women in Community. This month, we are talking about reasons why you need a mentor. And I have my amazing friend, Paula Derby, here. And she's going to be talking today for a little bit about how a mentor can act as a spiritual mother in your life.
Yes, this is really an important element, I think, of mentoring. And there are many types of mentoring relationships. And so I do want to talk about this specific type of or characteristic of mentoring that can happen, especially, in a spiritual context. Some mentoring relationships are very structured and even formal. And those usually happen in organizations or in the business world.
Right.
And they're usually the kinds of mentoring where you're learning a certain skill.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe you're learning to become a leader and you're learning specific ways to mentor people through leadership. They're very, specific and narrow focused. And some mentoring interactions, however, are very relational. And this is the type of mentoring environment that really yields itself to getting a spiritual mother kind of connection with someone. Have you ever had a spiritual mother relationship?
I mean, I have a few right now.
And
you
wonderful.
ladies.
That's
really,
wonderful.
truly, yeah.
And so what is a spiritual mother anyway, right? My first spiritual mother came into my life when I was saved about 4 years. And honestly, she hadn't been saved very much longer than me, but she was close to 20 years older than I was, married, she had children, and she had a deep, rich walk with the Lord.
That's wonderful.
And she certainly knew him better than I did, and she knew the Word of God better.
Mm-hmm.
I spent a lot of time at their house, like pretty much daily.
Yeah.
And Chuck began to joke that I always showed up at dinner. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have ever had dinner. I was really, really broke. And I went everywhere with my guitar, so he used to say that, he made me sing for my dinner afterwards because we would sit and, I'd play and worship, and they would just worship the Lord and stuff. But I spent a lot of time there with Mickey just as she was doing things around her house. And we talked about life. She talked about her kids. She was the children's pastor. She talked about her phenomenal ideas for children's ministry. Yeah. And of course, I asked her a ton of questions. And we were just doing this kind of in a daily, almost a familial kind of way, which was so nice. She'd be cooking or something, and she'd be sharing with me her experiences with Jesus. And she taught me many things. Yeah. Of course, we talked about my life too, but she was nurturing some things in me in that season. And and I was a sponge. She says today, 45 years or so later, that I'm the hungriest person she ever met. So apparently I sucked everything out of her that she had. She said it kept her on her toes.
Yeah.
A spiritual mom is a close-in kind of relationship, right? And it may or may not include a lot of time spent together. Although that's one element. Right. It's a strong heart connection. Mm-hmm. That's really what it is.
Yeah.
And this relationship should lead you to want to know the Lord better, to dig in deeper. And this person should be the kind of person that Jesus really is the center of their life and everything that they do. And in 1 Corinthians 4:15, Paul talks about him being a father in the faith to the Corinthians. Mm-hmm. So a mother in the faith, same thing, right? He said, you have many instructors, but not many fathers or mothers in the faith. So he was bringing them some loving correction and instruction and encouraged them to follow the example he lived. And he did this in front of them. So what characteristics should you look for in a spiritual mother? Mm-hmm. I think godly character is just way up there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This person should be gracious and patient, willing to give their time, so hospitable, right? And available. Right. And, I honestly, because Mickey was okay with it, I could just show up at her door anytime.
And that's so important. Just, especially I think for younger women to feel accepted, to be able to feel like they can show up, to be able to feel like they can send that text message or make that phone call. And
And so availability, in today's world, there are a lot of ways to be available.
There are.
You know?
Yeah.
In my years with Mickey and Chuck, it was show up at their door or call on the phone. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we had. You know, but we have a lot of other ways to
We have a lot
be
of
in touch,
options
don't
now.
we?
But I think that personal in-person thing is important too.
It totally is.
It really is. I think that means a lot.
It totally is. But we're not limited.
No.
In the same
Not
way
even
that
a
we
little.
used to be.
Mm-mm.
So don't recoil a little at availability thinking, I'm so busy, there's no way I have time for this, right?
I've never just showed up at your doorstep.
No, we definitely call each other.
Text messages. Yeah.
But I have someone that I'm working with via FaceTime. She lives in another state.
Right.
You know, and what I wouldn't have given to get to have FaceTime with Mickey.
Right. I'm sure.
In the years after I moved. You know?
Yeah.
So another thing is this person should have a real devotion to Jesus and a heart to nurture,
Mm-hmm.
guide, and instruct, and even to correct some things in your life. Oh boy. Paul said we are to teach, preach, and warn. And he
Yeah.
did that with those who were close in with
Mhm.
him. And also to be a mature Christian, grounded in the word and living a life that's consistent with good doctrine, right?
Right.
Paul said, follow me as I follow Christ.
Right.
So she should be someone whose example you can follow. And mature does not necessarily mean older.
No.
I've had some mentors that were just several years older than me, but they were in a very different season of life.
Yeah.
And I still have mentors, even
Mhm.
though I'm as old as I am.
Which is not old.
You know, in the kingdom, we can have several spiritual mothers, and whereas in the natural, we have one mother, right?
Right.
So don't lock yourself in. I have had a couple of spiritual mothers who poured their time into me, and I've looked back over the years, and I've seen aspects of spiritual mothers in other women who I knew God had brought into my life, but it was only for a very brief period of time. But they left an imprint in certain aspects of my
Mhm.
life that I
Right.
really needed.
Yeah.
So open up your thinking. Don't lock in too much. You may not think you've had this kind of input in your life, but if you look back, you'll probably see those elements in
Yes.
various women. So just enjoy the fact that God has brought these people into your life, even though it may not look quite like you thought it
Right.
should.
Absolutely.
And I want to encourage you in this. You are not too old to still have a mentor and to need one. I think probably until there's no one left older than us in our lives. Well, I looked at this older minister and I thought one day he had done so much. And I thought, who does he have to draw from? He was near the end of his life. And I thought, okay, well, maybe then I won't need a mentor. But until then, I know I do. We have had a couple of generations of young people who are craving mentors. And we are needed. And ladies, I really want to encourage you that this type of mentoring is a golden opportunity for you to exemplify a life walking with Jesus. And you are needed in this hour like never before. Answer the call, please. Ask the Father to show you which women that you are to bring further along their journey, and to show you the women that can be that to you as well. So recognize those moments and mark those moments in your heart, and let those experiences draw you closer into the Father.